Alright, hi everyone, it's Linica here again. I've been trying to decide just which video I wanted to do next because there's a lot of things I've wanted to talk about. I've also been trying to find time to also do a video. But I came across a news article on nytimes.com posted, I think it said May 31st, 2014, so it's probably a little outdated, but it was just one of the things that was filled with so much stupid, I just had to talk about it. And it's not so much that it's all stupid as it's poorly represented. It's written kind of in a trickster way, and as a writer myself, I can easily spot these things, and I find it as a slap in my face and the American public's face when they try and write like this and think that we're too stupid to follow along with it. So I'm going to go through, and I wrote down notes as I read it, and debunk every single thing they wrote in that article. So let's go ahead and get started. The article was labeled or titled 5 months of sales, Colorado sees the downside of a legal high. I don't know who the author was. I didn't bother looking it up. I was just too annoyed by all the stupid. So the first thing that it starts off with is talking about this Denver man who bought it's called Karma Candy from one of the legal Colorado marijuana stores that had marijuana infused in it, and then he goes off talking about like it's the end of the world, and then he pulls a handgun on his family and shoots and kills his wife. And then that's pretty much all they say right then and there, but like 3 paragraphs from the end, they actually go back and mention him, and they do that so that you don't associate both of those two little instances as the same instance. But what they don't bother to tell you right there at the beginning to grab your attention is that this, he had also possibly taken prescription back pain medications. And it never said if he actually did or not. But if he did, I'm going to say that those are much more likely the reason why he went all crazy than some marijuana, which is more known to make you happy and hungry. It also says, it gives a quick bullet point of everything else that's to come afterward, which is lives have been damaged, deaths directly linked to marijuana legalization, which I don't believe. It's been slipping over the borders and getting into kids' hands, but there's scat data on any of it. And guys, let me just point out that all of that could be said about any other thing that children shouldn't have that are slightly illegal. Alcohol has ruined lives, it has killed people, it has slipped over borders, it has gotten into children's hands. Tobacco, prescription medications, cough medicine, toothpaste. I mean, come on, people. Water has done it. Come on. So much stupid. One guy claims that people driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol in Colorado has shot up 12.5% at the time of the publishing of this writing because people were driving stoned. Well, of course it did. Duh. It was just legalized. And, people drive drunk all the time. I don't see why it's such a huge deal when it's because they're legally high. A lot of people who are pro legalization of pot say these people are cherry picking, and I am going to agree with that. I think people who are anti-marijuana legalization are just really starting to cherry pick, and I think they're actually coming up with some of these stories. When they were talking about legalizing pot, marijuana, and whatever you want to call it, a lot of people were like, oh, it's going to cause rioting in the streets, it's going to cause blood, it's going to cause the crime rate to shoot up. Well, at the time of the writing, apparently crime rate in Denver was actually down 10%. I mean, that's a huge drop. So that's kind of to be expected because, like I said, everybody I've ever talked to who's ever gotten high or anything, we're quite happy people. As far as it flowing across state lines and getting into children's hands, one, we wouldn't have to worry about it flowing across state lines if we would just federally legalize it. If we just legalized it all across the U.S., we wouldn't have to worry about it going across state lines. Oh my God. If it's federally regulated, then it doesn't matter if it goes over state lines. So kind of mute point there There's no reason to not legalize it, because this was all coming about when, everybody was like, we don't recommend any other states legalizing it. I mean, come on, guys. If it's legal in all states, then why do we have to worry about it going over state lines? As far as it getting into children's hands, guys, things get into children's hands all the time. And we can try and do the best we can to keep dangerous things out of kids' hands, but it happens all the time. I mean, how many times have we heard stories about police officers' kids getting a hold of their handguns that were up high on a shelf somewhere and shooting themselves with it? It happens. Accidents happen. And it happens a lot more frequently with things like tobacco. I can't tell you how many times my girls have gotten a hold of cigarettes from somebody who left them within reach. Of course, they never got to ingest it because we always caught them, but things like that happen. So, I mean, that's also just a mute point. That's cherry picking, saying, oh, it's wound up in children's hands. Oh my God. Frenzy. Horrible. Guys, it happens all the time with everything. Accidents happen, but it's something that's not had a documented case of overdosing ever. I don't see too much of an issue. Plus, I can't imagine straight pot tasting too good to a kid. Somebody in Kansas was recorded saying that marijuana seizures in Kansas had shot up 61%, and someone else said it was down 61%. So who was lying? Who was telling the truth? As far as criminal marijuana cases in Colorado, that's dropped by 65% in 2013. Amazing. Could you imagine how much emptier our prisons would be if we would all just legalize pot? And I will be posting the link to this stupid article and all of its stupidness in the comment section below. Continuing on, they also quickly mentioned about the 17-year-old who was going to rob an out-of-state marijuana buyer, who I'm going to assume was a tourist passing through, and was like, hey, let me legally buy marijuana. And somehow he ended up accidentally shooting his girlfriend. What is the connection there? He was stupid and shot his girlfriend. Why does it matter if it was because he wanted to steal marijuana? He could have wanted to steal a TV. Are we going to blame the TV on that? Hey, this kid was going to steal a TV, but he somehow accidentally ended up shooting his girlfriend instead, so let's ban TVs. Let's make them all illegal. So much stupid, and they expect us to fall for this, people. So stupid. The next thing they mention is about this 4th grader who shows up to his school with some pot that he swiped. He sold it to 3 of his friends on the playground, and the next day one of his friends brought him an edible marijuana snack. And people are all up in arms about that. We've already discussed this, guys. Things happen. Things get left in kids' reach. I don't see huge world-ending repercussions from a kid eating a marijuana brownie. I just don't see it. I'm sure it's happened before, and I'm sure they turned out fine. They go on to point out that this year alone at the time of the writing, at that year alone, by that time, 9 children had gone to the Children's Hospital of Colorado. 6 of them were critically sick. Guys, seriously, you're gonna nitpick 9 children in like 5 months? Are you kidding me? What else out there sends more children to the hospital? Oh, I don't know, accidental ingesting of prescription medications, getting into toothpaste, falling. I mean, come on. 9 children in a hospital in 5 to 6 months? Really? That's too much stupid. They have one death that appears to be linked. It can't be confirmed. It can't be said that is the reason, but they say this appears to be one of the contributing factors to a death. of a 19-year-old African-American exchange student who came down to Colorado, got high, and somehow ended up falling off the roof of a hotel. They said plunge. They never said jump. They never said fell. They didn't say trip. They didn't say anything besides that. It was probably a contributing factor. Great. So contributing factors are now the reasons why we can make things illegal. So let's just put it this way. Let's say he wasn't high at all and he was still up there. It could have been depression. It could have been anything. Heck, he could have just tripped over his own 2 feet. I do that. I trip over flat floors all the time. So why are we going to sit here and blame the marijuana on it? And just to make something clear before I go ahead and wrap up this video, I have never done pot. I've never done illegal substances. I don't even take prescription medications like I should. Birth control, I took it for like 2 months. That's how I kind of wound up with my first kid, but that's okay. I love her to death. Let's see, what other medications? When I've fallen and gotten hurt a couple times, they tell you to take ibuprofen so often. Didn't do it. They've given me some really good painkillers from some of my falls before, or right after my pregnancy, I was on Vicodin for a little while. Really good painkillers. Didn't finish them. I just don't like taking medication, and I'm horrible at taking medication. I can't take it regularly. So I don't need something to give me an artificial sense of happiness to get me through life. I don't need anything like that. Life enough is good for me. I don't need to introduce something into my body to make me feel good, to make me get through the day. I don't need alcohol. I don't need tobacco. I don't need drugs. I don't need anything like that. I don't smoke. I don't drink. The first time I got drunk, I was 17 and with my siblings. I didn't go to parties. I stayed home all the time. I was kind of not the social person. I was a homebody. But, I got drunk my first time in the safety of my siblings. And then I didn't drink again until I went off to college, and I never got drunk. I just had one ice cooler. Like, that was it. And I watched all my other friends get drunk, and I had to take care of them. But I've never been the partying type. I don't need alcohol to feel good about myself. I don't need drugs to feel good about myself or my life. And, I don't need things like tobacco to relieve stress. I don't see the point. If I can't imagine myself being addicted to something. To me, it's just a sign of, I broke down, I got weak, and now I'm stuck on something that's slowly killing me. And that's another thing. A lot of people like to say, like there's possible things in there that could be carcinogenic. Guys, tobacco's still legal. And we've known for so long that tobacco products cause cancer. I mean, how are you going to sit there and nitpick about something like that when we still have tobacco on the market? But that's a whole nother spiel. That'll be a whole nother video. Arguments about carcinogenics. I'm so over them. But, I'm very much pro, legalization of marijuana and pro hemp. I think they could do a huge service to our entire industry, to America, to the economy. I think it could do great. I think every state and for agriculture it would do great. I mean, just think about all the things that we use hemp products in. Just so much: ropes, clothes, goods, papers. I mean, the uses for hemp is practically limitless. And instead of growing it ourselves, because some idiots have it stuck in their heads that hemp and marijuana are the same thing when they're not, we import it and pay millions or billions of dollars to other countries to grow something that we could grow right here. Can you imagine how much money we would save, if not make, by producing it ourselves and selling it to other countries? Could you imagine? there's no reason for it to still be illegal. I mean, there's other worse things out there, and something that just gets you really happy and really hungry. The worst thing you're going to get with marijuana is the munchies. And the only thing that's going to do is make the economy go up more because people are going to be buying more food. So, yeah, I just don't see the point of marijuana being illegal. And when I read things like this article that are written in such a way to portray something negative, even though there's really nothing negative there, I find it as a slap in the face. There's just so much stupid there, I can't handle it, and I have to call it out. So, like I said, I'll be posting the link to the article below. And again, like all things, I will not be allowing comments on my videos directly because I don't need any kinds of threats carrying over from other videos. So I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. It is Friday, and hopefully I can get on here and upload another video before too long on a couple of the topics that are just burning a hole for me to talk about. Anywho, everybody, I hope you have a very safe weekend. Have fun, be responsible, be safe. Bye, guys.